Trust is the great worship from which we get closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Trust to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the worship of right house and the path of sincere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered to his messengers and prophets, and it is the specific sign of the believers from which they guide the people. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you are truly believers. Surah Al-Ma'idah verse number 23. We learn from it that we have to trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters, that is the belief from which 313 Muslim was defeat 1000 pagans. That is the belief from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the enemy. And that is the belief from which Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam could not burn. And that is the belief from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave salvation of Bani Israel from Fir'aun. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and whoever puts their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then He Azza wa Jal is sufficient for him. Surah At-Talaq verse number 3. We learn from it that as much is strong our belief, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise our elevation. My dear brothers and sisters, the meaning of faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mean the people did not use the source, but the real faith is that they have to surrender their results along with using the source, and leaving the source is against the nature and the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasized a lot to get the source. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and walk on the earth and eat from His provision. Surah Al-Mulk verse number 15. Therefore it is important for us to faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala along with using the source.